Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at the R10 and doing my final overall review of that camera. So here it is, looking very strange on the end of my 500mm, just looking very small and compact compared to the lens attached to, but this is a combination I've been using with this camera, being a wildlife photographer and using this with that, using the advantage of that, having that crop sensor on there with the 24 megapixels to try and get the best imagery possible. So what I've got is a few photos I've taken with this combination to look through, as we always do, and then I will let you know my overall thoughts of this camera after that. Okay, so the first image here we have is of a wading bird. Just going through, it's got a fish in its mouth there. It's just gone for the sort of dive in with its beak. Jumps across a little bit this one. I'm not sure the name of the birds. Please let me know in the comments what it's called. But it sort of hops along, dives in. So it's quite a fast moving action when it's hunting for fish. But you know, the R10's managed to freeze that information there. If you zoom in on the beak, you can see all the water droplets around the beak as well. It's frozen the motion nicely, and you got fish in the mouth, and it's a really nice image, nice colours there as well. This was also shooting into the light, so it was the worst possible scenario to get an image like this, but the camera worked absolutely flawlessly and got the image as I wanted it. Next one we have here is a bird in flight. Here we go. It's got its branch there for, I'm guessing, nesting materials, but again it's really close to the water. This was a split-second opportunity between some trees on the right hand side of the bank and some trees it was obviously flying towards on the left hand side of the bank where I was shooting, and you're talking maybe 5 seconds worth of opportunity, and the R10 locked on immediately. As soon as I saw it, loose rewinder, half pressed the shutter button, boom, we got lock on and managed to get a nice few photos of about 10 in total. And this is the middle photo here, nicely in focus, really sharp, nice details. You can see the eyes like a bluey green colour, and you can see the yellow around the beak, and so the green's nicely coloured too, and just a really nice sharp crisp image. Again, stopped the motion exactly how I wanted it, and a very nice photo. And the last image here is more of a portrait type image that I wanted to put in here. This is a gosling, quite a big one really now, so it was waddling around on its own pretty happily. He's digging there for food, hence why it's got a load of dirt and stuff over its beak. But again, this is shooting into the light a little bit as well, not as badly as the first photo, but a little bit into the light. But you can see all the detail on the feathers, really nicely detailed, almost every individual feather there, and to his feet as well. And you can see you've got some sort of foliage in front of the gosling itself as well, and that's not affected the ability of the camera to be able to focus on there. It was using eye tracking, so that did help definitely, because it just popped onto that eye. It does sometimes find noses on beaks looking like eyes as well, because they're just a round hole. But again, so the details on the feet's really nice, even if you've got that object in front, and just really nice colours as well. It's really nice browns there, some nice greens in the background, and the browns and the whitish or grey colours as well on the gosling itself. Really well portrayed from this camera. So as you see from those images there, it's a very versatile, very useful camera to have. It's by far one of the best and stickiest autofocuses I've used on a mirrorless camera so far, and I've used the R7, the R6, the R6 Mark II, the R3 and the R10, and just the way this picks up on animals is just incredible. Birds in flight, finds them straight away and is on it, tracking them through past obstacles. And that's what I said in my initial video I did with this camera, is I was pleasantly surprised at how good the autofocus was on this camera. For being, when it came out, it was the bottom end camera, it was the lowest camera they had in the range, and now you've also got the R100, the R50 below that, but this is still a fairly entry-level camera. It's not magnesium body, it's a very small camera, it's only got one card holder. you know, and all those sort of things there. And it's got a very small battery, which is something I'll come on to in a second. But for the price, the image quality you get, and just how well it works, the details, and the fact even on these older lenses you're still getting really nice, sharp, usable imagery that you'd expect in the past if you bought a DSLR only to get from the top end echelon of the 1Ds and the 5Ds and that really expensive camera body. You now get it in these cheaper, more attainable bodies. And if this had a few little perks, I think this camera personally is better than the R7. The autofocus is way stickier, the buffer isn't as big, and it only has one card slot, and the battery is really small, like really small compared to the R7. But it's a really good camera, and I think the reason why I find this better than the R7 is because the expectation wasn't there like on the R7, where the expectation was it had to be an incredible camera that was going to replace the 7D Mark II. This was coming in at that lower level and saying, hey, like, you know, it's a crop sensor camera, it's the entry level camera, you know, it's gonna have some autofocus functions and all this sort of stuff. And I went into this thinking, oh, it's just gonna be a basic camera, let's see what it looks like, and come out from it saying, yeah, this, for money wise, this is a better option than the R7 currently, in my opinion. The only things I wish were different on here, as I keep mentioning, is the battery life. For videos you'll get half an hour on 4K recording. I went out and took 500-600 photos, went through half a battery. So it's things like that, because the battery is so much smaller. I'll show you now even how much smaller the battery is. You know, this is a tiny battery. And obviously they had to do that, or else if you had the same battery life as the R7, why would you then buy the R7? Apart from having that more megapixels. But this has got 24, it's got the same as the R3, you know, the R6 as well. And that's a very usable amount of megapixels. You can crop in with that. You still get great detail, great colours, like you would expect. You have the pop-up flash, some people like to have that pop-up flash. The viewfinder is definitely, you can tell where they've cheapened out on that. My eye doesn't almost like fit inside the viewfinder as well as it does on one of the more premium cameras, so I find I'm missing parts of the screen when I'm looking in there. But it's not stopped me being able to get photos, it's not stopped me being able to get these birds in flight and motion photos and everything like that. The advantage I found, a big difference for me with bigger hands, is putting this cage on there. That's a small rig R10 cage. And that's made a huge difference for it fitting in my hands, because before it felt like I was going to break it, which is why when I initially bought this is the camera that sits where the R3 is right now and records everything I do, because I then have a dummy battery attached to it, and it just doesn't matter about battery life. I just flick a card in it and just transfer off as I've recorded. And it works really well for that information, really works well for that purpose for me, but it is surprising how well it works as a camera too. And if you're looking for a camera to get into sports, into wildlife photography, and you don't want to spend more than £1,000 on a body, this is an absolutely amazing option to go for. And I'm very pleasantly surprised at how good this camera was. I expected it to not be, and I didn't expect it to be disappointing, but I knew it's not a camera I pick up and go, oh, I'll go and take photos. And actually it's been an absolute pleasure to use it and take it out, and way more fun than I thought it'd be. And I say, I had just as good photos as the R7, if not better, because the autofocus in my opinion is working slightly better for some reason on this camera. Maybe the settings I have on there, but they're default settings on this camera. I've not gone around and messed about with it too much. I've just picked it up, taken it off the stand where the R3 is now for recording, put this lens on it and gone and take photos with it. So, you know, it's a camera that definitely would do more content with in the future, if you guys want to see that and see it with different lenses and stuff like that. But for now, this is, let's say, the last video on this camera. And if you're, say, looking for that sub £1,000 wildlife or sports or anything, you can do portraits, anything you want really. If you look at a sub £1,000 mirrorless camera, you can't go wrong with this one here. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. As always, do you agree with me? Are there any points that you wanted to add as well, or any questions you want to ask about the camera? Put them down there as well. I hope you enjoyed the video as always, and I will catch you in the next one. See you again soon. Goodbye.